Hello everyone, and you're watching The Maths Geek. In today's video, we are going to be discussing about the Maclaurin series, which is just basically the Taylor series but centered at zero. Now let's have a look at what all this exactly means. Okay, so now back to our Taylor series. So the Taylor series was basically a way of expressing any function as an infinite sum, right? And this infinite sum is actually a way of approximating the function. So when you basically just cut off the infinite sum or take a convergent of it, so let's say suppose you just stop the sum at any point p and then you just sum it up to there, that thing will approximately be f of x, or well, we can just say as p gets larger and larger, the sum is just going to tend towards f of x. So Taylor series and Maclaurin series are a really good way of approximating functions. All right, now let's move on to the Maclaurin series and its derivation. So in the Taylor series, it's quite different where you have x minus some constant c to the power of n over here. So the Maclaurin series is basically where we just consider x power n. So here c is just 0. So the Maclaurin series are nothing but just a Taylor series centered at 0. Alright, so now let's just have a look at how exactly we can get a formula for the nth coefficient of x power n. Alright, so now let's just expand this sum out. At n is equal to 0, x bar n is just going to be 1 since x bar 0 is 1. So we get a naught plus, now we have a1 times x, and the next one's going to be a2 times x squared if you put n is equal to 2, and this all this goes on. I'll just add one more term, a3 times x cube, and this is an infinite sum, it just goes on. Alright, so now what we have to do is basically find the coefficients in order. So now it's very easy to find a naught. It's like how you find the constant term for any polynomial. Just plug in x is equal to 0. Then all of these terms just vanish because they have an x in them. And if you put x is equal to 0, basically all of these terms just vanish out to 0. Right. So we can just say that f of 0 is, well, a naught, which is our first coefficient. Now I'll just put that here. So f of x is equal to a naught, which is f of 0 plus a1x plus a2x square and so on. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a1. Now note again, if you put x is equal to 0, we just get f of 0 again. So that's just not really going to work. So now we're going to employ calculus to help us. So what we're going to do is we're going to differentiate f of x once. So if I just differentiate f of x once, I get derivative of f of x with respect to x. Now note that f of 0 is a constant, so its derivative with respect to x will just be 0, right? So that's 0, and then by the product rule, this is just going to be a1 times the derivative of x, which is just 1 by the power rule. So let me decide the power rule here. If you differentiate x bar n, you get n times x bar n minus 1. The power gets reduced by 1 and the exponent just comes down and it gets multiplied. Alright. So similarly, you get 2a2 times x plus, for the next one is going to be 3a3 times x squared, and you just go on in this manner. Now, if you look at this, this looks quite similar to our thing for f of 0, and now we can again put x is equal to 0 here, right? So now, if we put x equal to 0, we get the derivative evaluated at 0. So actually, 1 second. Yeah, this would be a better way to just write f prime evaluated at 0 is just going to be 0 plus this is a1. So now if I put 0 again, all of this stuff vanishes and what I have is a1. All right, now that is done, we are done with A1. So in a similar way, we're just going to keep on differentiating. So let's just do one last one. So now this thing, if we differentiate this again, we get that the double derivative or the second derivative of f of x is just 0 differentiated is just 0 a1. Now a1 is also a constant. Remember, all these coefficients are just real numbers, right? So when you differentiate them, you will get 0 with respect to x, which is a variable. So that's also going to be 0. And now 2a2 times x. Now again, just the derivative of x is x, and by the product rule, it's just going to be 2a2 here. And okay, and again the derivative of x square now is 2 times x, so that just comes down and you get 3a3 times 2x by the product rule, and that's just going to be 6a3x, and you can just go on in this manner. And now you see that everything after this will have a x in it. Right, now again we can put x equal to 0 here. And again, all of these terms will vanish because they have an x in them. And we just left with 2a2. Now note, until now we had nothing in the denominator, like it was just 1a0 and 1a1. But from here we get 2a2, and so we get that a2 is nothing but this, right? The second derivative of the function divided by 2. Now, if we are going to go to the nth derivative, so I'll just clear everything here. 1 second. So now we got this, that. Yes, so we got that a naught was just f of 0, and a1 was just f prime evaluated at 0, and a2 is f double prime evaluated at 0 by 2. All right, now I'm going to generalize this for the nth term, all right, the coefficient of x power n, and we're just going to go on like this, a n x to the n, and I'm going to go on like this. Okay, so now I'm going to take the nth derivative because I'm just going to find the nth coefficient here, and we can just sum over that, right? So now let's take the nth derivative, and that's just going to be this. That's just how you write the nth derivative of f of x. It's just going to be, now note here, all the terms before an, before the x power n, it's here, their their exponent of x will be lesser than n, right? So let me explain this way. Suppose you have x square and you're going to differentiate this 3 times, right? So after one differentiation you get 2x, after the second differentiation you get 2, and now 2 is a constant. So if you differentiate 2 with respect to x, you just get 0, right? So we can just say that all the exponents, all the terms whose exponent is less than n, their nth derivatives will automatically vanish and go to 0, right? As their exponent will just, as they'll just go to a constant in the derivative, and then after you differentiate a constant, you just get 0, right? So till a n minus 1 uh, times x power n minus 1, all the derivatives are going to be 0, right? And now you can actually know this very easily. You can also prove this, that if you just differentiate x power n times, what you basically get is going to be n factorial, right? You see how that works? So if you differentiate it once, you get n times x power n minus 1. If you do it twice, you get n times n minus 1 x power n minus 2. If you do it thrice, then n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times x power n minus 3. And you can just keep going on. So what you notice, after all the n differentiations happen, you just get this, right? The product of the first n natural numbers, and the power will be reduced by n. times, right? Not n times. I mean, will be subtracted by n, right? So x power n minus n, which is just x power 0, which is just 1. Now the product of the first n natural numbers, as we know, is just defined to be n factorial, right? So the nth derivative of that is just going to be n factorial. And now again for a n plus 1 x power n plus 1, and you keep going on. What's going to happen for this is you will have x, right? So after you differentiate it n times, the power you just subtract n from the power, right? That's going to be your final exponent, the power of x, right? So if you just differentiate n times, you'll get some constant times x, right? Let's go and c naught. And the same thing for x power n plus 2, you'll get some constant c1 times x square, and you can just keep going on like this. All right. And again, as we see, what again happened was that if you now plug in x equal to 0, look at this, all of that has x, so all of that is going to go to 0. And so we just have the nth derivative of f of x evaluated at 0, 1. Yes, so we just have the nth derivative of f of x evaluated at 0. That's just going to be n factorial times an. Oops, I forgot the an there, right? So the an will also be there. So at the derivative of x by n is n factorial, and you just multiply that by an, right, by the product rule. Yes, so now you can just see that the nth coefficient is just going to be the nth derivative evaluated at 0 by n factorial. So now we've just found a general formula, and you can actually notice this will work, right? So if you plug in x is equal to 0, you will just get a zero derivative of function, which is actually just the function itself, right? So that's just going to be f of 0 by 0 factorial, which is defined to be 1. And again, if you just put n is equal to 1, then the first derivative by 1 factorial, which is just 1. And if you put the second derivative, that's just the second a2, then that's just the second derivative by 2 factorial, that's just 2. And so the third one, I'll just write it here, is just going to be this by 6. All right. So now we know an, so we can just put an there, and we have f of x, which can be expressed as this very nice infinite sum here. The nth derivative of the function evaluated at 0 by n factorial, that's just an times x to the n. And that, my friends, is the Maclaurin series. So in the next video, I guess I'll be covering a few problems on the Maclaurin series. I'll do one differential equation, I guess, via the Maclaurin series. We'll solve it. And I'll be covering also the house problem. It's not known as the house problem, but then it's a really nice short-lived problem. And I'll also generalize its solutions using Pell's equation, right? So that was all for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you. Please keep watching my videos and supporting me. And I'll see you in the next video. All right.